Why don't you tell everybody what happened?
Just doing my job at Nellis. We had two things we did. We did the telephone monitoring. Like
Where's
we talked
Nellis?
About. It's in Nevada. So I'm working at Nellis Air Force Base for the Det-3, and that's where the program, they have a shop that of 4 guys, I was one of them, that would go out and monitor for the program. So anyway, the other side of my job was also doing monitoring for everybody else that wasn't in the program.
And when you say monitoring, what do you mean by that?
You're actually plugging into, just like you heard, tapping, telephones, all the ways we all the telecommunications type. We made sure that we listened to radios, we listened to radio waves, all that, and we gather it all in. And what we're tasked to do is, say a commander at Wright-Patterson, we went to do, it's always a 2-week mission mostly, unless it's part of an operation like Desert Storm, and you stay for a month or 2, and then you change out teams. But 2 weeks is the standard. So we go 2 weeks to Wright-Patterson. We gather all the information we can on all the telecommunications means, and we also have an OSI team that's trying to sneak in the doors and get into the facilities they shouldn't be at, just to test the security. And that's all we're there for. And at the end of the day, on the last Friday, we go in and we talk to the staff. And then about 90 days later, we put in a final report and give that, again, back to the staff. And that's kind of how we rolled. So we're going up range. For those kind of things, we don't do the telephone monitoring. When we go up range to the test range at Nellis, that was what we called red forcing. And what our job was there is we were also trained to do combat ops against our own pilots so that we could help them survive in a wartime environment. And that was done at the top of Black Mountain. And that we call that there's a little schoolhouse there. And then if you walk up another few yards, there's really those big golf ball looking radars or satellite dishes. We're up at the very top. But anyway, that's where we were heading this one day. So we all packed up. We're in Beatty, Nevada, which is the Burro Inn. I can tell you that's where we always hold up at. And we take off from there every morning to go do the AM and the PM push. That's what you call it when the war is on. You call it the push. So we had one in the morning called AM push, one in the afternoon PM push. So we were all heading up for the AM push in a convoy. There's 3 vehicles, probably about 3 to 4 people per vehicle. I'm in the lead vehicle with the ranking guy. He's driving, and I'm right behind him. And then there's another gentleman in the passenger seat across from the driver, and then there's a young lady next to me. And we're all going up. And the ranking guy had been there the week before, and he had seen the craft fly by, because that one's out there on the internet. You can pull down the video. There's a report that goes along with it.
There's a video that we can watch right now?
Right now, yeah.
What would he search?
Search for, let me think, Nellis Test Range UFO 1994.
Dun, dun, dun. Who filmed this?
This was filmed by the operators on the range, because we're putting these pilots in a risky situation by playing war with them, but we're training them. So if there is any kind of a mishap or a pilot or plane goes down, everything needs to be recorded. So this is
it right here?
Yes. So this video is being taken by one of these cameras that's up on the range. And along the bottom, you see that this is also trying to lock on to the craft so it can, follow it as it goes in and out, because this is the kind of way that you want to track if there's a craft that is having problems. And
This is moving very erratically.
Right. So this is what the ranking guy saw.
Can I pause you for a second? This tracking, is this manual, or is this like some
It's
sort of an automated system?
It's an automated system.
So the automated system is having a hard time
locking on
to it.
Yeah, if it locks on, you'll see a big spike, and that means that it finally locks on. Right now it's trying to, but something is stopping it from locking on, and they think it was the craft.
It's moving like crazy, side to side, all over.
There's actually a recording that goes with it where you hear the guys going, "Hey, does anybody know what this is? What's going on here?"
Can we hear that? Okay, the sound is terrible.
Yeah.
They need better mics.
Honestly, that's
Do
the
we
way
have
it sounds when
podcast
you're
mics?
working up there. But
Oh,
anyway,
I'm sure, but he's saying, what is that? I don't know. We're having a hard time locking onto it.
Right.
Right. This is the video operator. So the following week after this happens, this video is taken. The ranking guy who had been there the week before and saw this thing flying, he takes us in this. When you go on the range through this one gate here, it goes up a little ways, and then there's a cantonment area. It's got a very small place where you can change your tires, get gas, just minor maintenance to get your butt home if you have a car that's busted. And then in the back of that cantonment area, there's 2 huts that look like campers, really, glorified campers. So the video operators are in the one that's off to the northeast of the cantonment, and in the very corner of it. And the ranking guy just says, we all have to go in here. We're going to go talk to the video operators. We have to do this. And this was because the week prior, everybody came back to garrison or back to our unit, and they had seen this thing, and they were all talking about this UFO. So we go in there, and there's the video operator. He has us all write our names down, whether we were there and saw it the first week or not. Then he makes us all sit down and watch that video. And he says, do you know what this is? And we're like, no. And then he just said, okay, thank you. And then we, after everybody that was there saw it and wrote their name down, we were allowed to leave. And that was all that was required. And so I was like, well, what was that all about? But then as I'm exiting, this lady that had been sitting against the wall on the far part of this little hut that we were in, and she grabs my arm and she just says, there's somebody on the range. Don't talk to him. And she was really, really freaked out. And I'm like, thanks, strange, freaky lady. Got it. And I'm like, whatever. So we all hop out. We get in the vehicles and then start taking off towards Quartz Mountain, because right at that cantonment area, there's a hard right. There's a hard right that goes off to Quartz Mountain. And about a mile, half a mile to a mile down that road, it's all dirt road up, by the way, there's this guy. It looks like he's wearing a uniform like we are. He got battle dress uniform on. So he sees us and he starts to look like he's running, and he's got this really weird run, like his arms are kind of flailing behind him. It's like he was running against the hurricane wind, and it was like he was going to fall over at any time. And I was like, yeah, it's a bit windy today, but it ain't that bad. So it looked really strange. And then I began to notice his skin tone looked like he might be hypothermic. And I'm thinking, oh, crap, this dude's been out here. It's freaking freezing out here, because it was a very cold day, and the wind was blowing. It was, those cold days where it didn't matter how many layers you had on. And so as we're getting closer, I'm talking to the ranking guy. Hey, we need to slow down. So anyway, I'm thinking, this guy's probably in big trouble. I need to pull off my jacket. I need to give him something to get warm real quick. So I'm starting to do that, and we're approaching, and by the time I get my jacket most of the way off, he's right there at the corner of the front of the car. And
So he looks pale? Is that what you're saying?
he looked like an albino with a very bluish kind of undertone. If you could imagine,
So you're assuming you're immediately associating that with he's freezing.
Yeah, because that's all I could equate it to.
Right.
And then as I'm starting to open my door to try to administer aid to this guy, the dude in the front passenger seat screams he's got no ears. And I thought that was pretty rude, because I was like, the guy's in trouble.
Does he have a hat on? He's
got a hat on, and he's got BDUs that look absolutely clean, pristine. And when you're uprange, you do not wear your cleanest uniform. You're in a dirty environment. You wear your scuffed up boots. You don't take them with you.
So he's got clean battle dress uniform.
Everything.
United States military
very out of
uniform
place.
on.
Yeah, it looks very out of place when I finally do it. But anyway, I step out onto the roadway, and this guy screams that he's got no ears. And I just thinking it's really rude. And then I close the door, and I look up, and he's got no freaking ears. And his eyes are twice as big. And I'm like, yeah, what the hell did I just walk into? This guy's not from around
How
here.
far away from him are you?
Probably from me to
Just a few
Logan.
feet.
Yeah, just talking distance.
Okay.
And I'm starting to freak out, but then he starts to talk to me, and it's not my language, but it's coming to, the understanding is like coming into my mind about every word he's saying. So
he's actually saying words.
He's saying words, but it doesn't sound like anything I've heard before.
But you're understanding what he's saying.
But I'm understanding. So I know there's a telepathic thing going on here, and it calms me down at the same time, because I'm having to respond to him. And he's like, hello, I'm having trouble with my craft. I need some repair material. Do you know where I could find some tritium? And this is what he's talking to me about. And I'm like, you mean titanium? Because I didn't know anything about tritium at the time. But titanium, he's like, no, it's not it. And I'm like, well, at this point in my career, I had just left the program. So I knew where Dreamland was. And I pointed to the mountain range because you can see for days in the desert. But I pointed towards the mountain range and I said, Dreamland's just over there. And this wave of emotion hit me like disgust. Like, I am not going to talk to those barbarians and murderers. You know. And
Wow. So he was saying that to you, like
Yeah.
his reaction to going to the military base. Was,
exactly. Yeah.
I was
But
not.
he did
gonna
not
talk.
like it. He said, I am not going to talk to those people. And then I was like, well, shoot.
And it was barbarians and murderers.
He literally, that was what he called them, yes. And mentally, that's what it was. But the
Is this
emotion,
Tritium, is this a real thing?
well, that's what, I've had a lot of friends. There's analysts also that were on the top secret network that were trying to help me understand what
We
material.
were throwing everything at him. We're like, is it this? Is it this? And he's
And then
like,
finally,
no.
that's the one, when they hit tritium, I was like, that's what it was. That's what he said.
And what is Tritium?
It's a type of, well, can he bring it up on the?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because it should pop up on Wikipedia pretty quick. But it has some properties that probably would work.
tritium. But are you saying tritium?
Yeah, tritium is that's the stuff that's in Loom, like in your
Yes.
watch when your watch glows. That's
Yeah.
you know they make those where they're basically like radioactive isotopes that stay lit. So like if you get like a Marathon watch, Marathon makes military watches, and it doesn't need like this watch. You need the light, and the light charges the Loom, and then when it's dark out, you could read the hands for like a few
It's
hours.
the thing that they used
Correct.
to put on the end of the guns, right?
Exactly, they still do. A
Yeah.
lot like Sig has them.
Now,
on
look
their
up
guns.
tritium also. Put an end
Tritium
in
is
there.
just a lot. It's
I did that. That's not giving me much.
so Trintium, chunky glow in the dark glitter.
You
What
know,
is that?
these are all these are game websites.
Oh, I
I
see.
don't know. I'm
Okay,
trying
so
to
it was
find-
tritium, then I may be mispronouncing
But
it.
tritium that's that radioactive isotope.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff that emits light.
Yep.
So it emits a weak form of radiation.
Yes.
A rare radioactive isotope of hydrogen with a half-life of 12.3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this is what he's asking me for.
So he's asking you for that stuff? Tritium?
Yep. And I'm like, I don't know where to get.
Oh, look at that. It's used in boosted fission weapons and thermonuclear weapons. Oh, great.
That sounds reassuring, right?
I wonder what the fuck it's doing on your wrist. Is there anybody?
This is what the best image that we have of
Oh.
what he could have looked like.
Oh boy. Can you send that to Jamie?
Yeah, I don't know Jamie's number, but we'll
Here.
find a way to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
if
an
I
iPhone?
had
Yeah,
if I
this
had
is
my
my
phone, I would, but it's
airdrop
out
it to
there.
me.
I think
Yeah, airdrop it to Jamie. Do you know how to do that?
there was
How
that
dare
one.
you not know how to do
Oh,
that?
and there's a
Your
three-dimensional.
guy works with UFOs. You better know how to do that.
Well, there's a three-dimensional image of the craft as well that is really spot on from what I saw that day.
Keep it
Yeah.
Because not only did I see this guy running towards us and talking to him, but off the shoulder on the north side of the roadway, that's where the craft was just resting on the desert floor. And I got a really good look at it at that point. And this guy did a 3D rendering of the description, and it's spot on as I've ever seen. It's almost perfect.
So he asks you for tritium. You tell him this is what it looked like.
This is what the guy looked like, pretty close to it.
Yo.
The nose was a little bit rounder on the end, but that was a really good rendition. But yeah, his eyes almost came out to here on the temple.
Wow. And that would freak me out.
It freaked me out. I mean, honestly, I'm not an easy guy to get freaked out, but that really put that like you just saw an alligator pop up out of the water kind of thing.
Right. So when you tell him go to Dreamland, it says I'm not going to go where those murderers and barbarians are. And then what happens?
And he said no. So I was like, well, where else can I possibly point him to? Because I'm like, I don't know any metallurgists or whatever. So I'm thinking to myself, and I relayed to him. I said, well, I'm taking college classes down in the city of Vegas, Las Vegas, at the community college. But I have a geophysical professor that I'm taking a class from, maybe he has a metallurgist friend, and he's like,
So you're
"Oh,
thinking at this time though it's a metal,
I am, yes.
right? Because you're thinking it's some kind of like titanium, some type of.
Right. And there's also when he...
This is the 3D image of what the craft looks
That
like?
is almost as spot on as I've ever seen. That is about it right there. That's almost exactly what I saw rusting on the desert floor.
And so you're trying to find different people that you can connect this being to.
Yeah.
And what is it saying to you while you're...
He thought that was a good idea, I think, or he was like, I mean, made him, he had that kind of, and he wanted to take action, so he doesn't really even say goodbye. He just kind of turns and off he goes back to his craft. And I'm thinking, well, okay. And I get back in the car, and sometime during that conversation with this entity, I remembered looking over at my friends in the car, and they had the weirdest look on their face, like they were all zonked out, totally zombied, like they couldn't even, they were just drooling on themselves.
Were they just because they were flabbergasted, or was it
I didn't
because
know.
something was going on?
Well, I figured out that maybe it was done by this entity because none of them seemed to even remember the incident. Only a few people seems to remember that we stopped, that we had talked to somebody on the roadway, but it was mainly the people that were in the back of the convoy.
So they didn't see it up close like you
Right,
did.
like we did. The
So
people
how
that were
far
right
away
there,
would they be?
they'd probably be a good 2 car lengths behind us.
That's still enough to detect whether or not someone looks blue, though, right?
Correct, and that's probably what they saw. But you know me, I'm kind of wide and I'm big. I was very muscular back then.
And you're standing in front of this thing.
So they'd have a difficult time because this guy stood about a good half foot shorter than me. And so they probably could see his arms from time to time, maybe catch a glimpse of his face or something. So they probably didn't get a very good view because if you're looking at me, I'm standing right next to my door.
Mm-hmm.
And they're behind me kind of almost obfuscated by just the angle that they're looking at him. So all the windows are tinted in those vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't just see through the windows right to whatever on the left.
And the people that were in the car with you, you feel like something happened to them that like froze them?
They did look like that, yeah. Like you said, just a look of just utter like, like
The guy who said he has no ears, does that guy have a recollection?
that guy they can't find.
They can't find him.
No, I've tried. I was asked by the UAP task force, David Grush, to reach out to these folks, the people in the car. I got a hold of one, got a hold of him on LinkedIn, and we started talking. And just hey, how's the wife? How's the kids? That kind of stuff.
How about that UFO we met?
And as soon as I did that, the guy just disappears and ghosts me, and I don't know what happened, but he was the ranking guy in the car. The guy that was the passenger, nobody can seem to find him because they did try to verify the people in the car, and I gave the names. And the young lady that was off to my right, I don't know if they contacted her, but I've heard from other people that were part of this background investigation about my story. They found 2 people that verified my story. And I don't know who they are. They've been told to keep their mouths shut by somebody, and I'm kind of pissed about that. But I think James Fox knows who they are, and knows exactly who told them to shut up as well. But
What was that incident where James Fox and you
Well, I
were
won't
on
say
a
that.
show? What's that?
I shouldn't have said that James Fox knows the guy who told him to shut up, because I'm not sure if that's
You think
true.
you
That's
might
true.
know. So this thing, does it tell you why it needs the tritium? It just says it needs it to fix its craft?
Yeah. Well, along with that, this is the other part that was telepathic. When he mentions this metal and the part that he is,
But it's not
needing-
metal, right? Do we think it's not metal, or do
I
you
don't
think
think
maybe
it's-
it's a metal that we don't have?
I think it's something or an alloy that we don't particularly make a lot of and or just can't make. But when he spoke about this, the telepathic image was almost like he opened a Sears catalog in my head that had all the specs for this part that he was needing fixed. And it was the strangest thing. It like described some of the nano channeling of electrical and electromagnetic stuff that was flowing through it that caused these toroidal energies to emanate on both sides of this piece of the equipment.
So you, because it was describing it to you, you all of a sudden had access to all this information, like
Yeah,
you
he just put
downloaded
it in.
into your head.
It was like me, if you and I were telepathic and we were talking about a science project.
And he just
I could
uploaded all the information.
Yeah, and I could just give you all that instead of talking it out. That's what he did.
Did you then try to talk to someone and relay that information and like download it?
I've had, well, once, because in the forum, we have scientists and stuff like that yes, were very interested to get me in a room and talk to me about this. I had people from DARPA wanting to talk to me, people from threats departments all over the place that wanted to know more. And even when I talked to Jack Serafati and Gary Nolan about this stuff, I was telling them things before they even opened their mouth about, like when I talked to Gary Nolan, I just said, you got that part. You know that it has that nano-sized atomic level layering that can't be reproduced unless you actually physically are putting these atoms one at a time next to each other. And he's like, yeah, that's it, you know. So I'm telling him this, and he already knew. But that was the first thing. And so that's why I knew that what I'd been given in my head, he was giving me that high sign that, yes, that's exactly what I analyzed, is that piece of material I had. It sounds just like what this guy described to you and gave to you telepathically, that there's these really minute little things that create toroidal forces. They're doing things at a very small level. And then when I talked to Jack Serafati later, and he's got all these fantastical physics equations about how things work. And I'm looking through his documents, and no, I can't do the math, but I can understand what he's doing with it. And I just flat out asked him, I said, so the smaller you get, because there's always that resistance level when it comes to, you know, putting in energy and then losing it due to, you know, atrophy and all these other, or is that the right word for it? Anyway, the whole thing was just that when you get smaller, it actually reverses itself. Is that now you get even more power out of things if you have a small enough energy source that works at it's kind of like miniaturizing a fusion device of some kind.
And so did you talk to someone from DARPA? You said these people wanted to talk to you?
I emailed back and forth. I gave them what information I could. But
they didn't want to interview you? They wanted to just email?
At the time, that's the way it went, yeah. I've had a couple of meetings, though, at different places that I can't discuss. But they did talk to me, yes.
And is that information still in your head?
Yeah.
So does it seem like a memory, or what does it seem like in your head?
To me, it's like a very clear, like this is, it's just like a picture that never goes away.
Could you draw that picture if someone gave you a pad and a pen?
Yeah, I've already done it, yeah.
Yeah. Is that available online? Can someone see that?
I don't know if I pulled that down off the Top Secret network, but I can reproduce it. All I did was just recreate it in like a PowerPoint draw thing. But yeah.
Does it remain in your head like normal memory? Like, you know, like you learn certain things in school and they stay in your head?
The telepathy, it felt absolutely normal. I mean, there was no headache, there was no dizziness, no buzzing.
What I mean is the memory the same as a regular memory, or is it clear?
No, I remember it as just being part of the conversation, just like a normal conversation, yes. That's what it feels like.
But it just somehow or another, in that conversation, he put this information in your head.
Exactly.
And then it just leaves?
And then he leaves when he realizes that, you know, maybe there's some other venues, maybe me mentioning that there might be a metallurgist on staff somewhere that prompted him to think, oh, yeah, maybe I should go research this or that, and then maybe I'll find somebody that I could talk to. Something like that may have happened.
Did you get a sense of where this thing was from?
Yeah, there was a star map from that day, but it also relates to the lunch hour after we started going back up to Black Mountain. I had a very strong compunction to go eat my lunch outside, even though it was deathly cold. And I don't know what prompted me to do that again. Maybe he was giving me a telepathic message, but after I walked about 150 feet down the road, the dirt road, from the top of Black Mountain, I don't remember what happened after that. All I have are two images that keep on flashing back. I remember seeing the schoolhouse from about 150 feet above, or 200 feet above the schoolhouse. I remember looking at the rooftop. And the only other memory is I've got this star map in my head. And David Grush made me reproduce that on a PowerPoint slide. And I handed that in to him because I have no idea what it was. But he's like, do you understand what this is? And I was like, no, I have no idea. He's like, do you know what star constellations are? I said, I know what the Big Dipper is. That's about it. And he's like, this is the constellation Leo. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And so he's like, yeah, this is a really close rendition of that. And I'm like, well, that's kind of cool that I could reproduce it just out of my head, and not even know what the heck it was. But I did know it was a star system.
And for some reason, you just felt compelled to draw this particular star system.
Well, just after David Grush asked me to, yes.
And was there a specific planet in that star system?
Yeah, the red star. That's kind of like, there's a part of the Leo system that has like this, like very sharp turn into it. I guess it's like it looks like a nose, or part of a triangle, and at the tip of that is the red star, and it's reticuli, I think. But anyway, that one seemed
Wasn't
to
that what they
peak
always
at-
say about aliens, Zeta Reticuli?
Yeah.
And then the strangest thing about this is what I'm talking about when it comes to telepathy. When you're sharing that mind space, there's some residue memory there, because Dave kept pressing me on it, and he said, "Can you tell me about the red star?" And at first I'm like, "Well, no." And I was like, and all of a sudden some memory came back, and I was like, "Holy crap! Yeah, that's where he's from. That's his home star system, and he came from there. That's his home." And then we just went on from there. And he said, "Did you know that they've actually just now discovered a few years ago that there's exoplanets around that star?" And I was like, "No, I had no idea." So all these things started coming together at that point. And that's when they started saying, "Okay, well, we're going to do some more vetting." And within about a month or so, they were bringing me to Congress, and everything else happened after that.
I'm sure you followed Avi Loeb.
Yeah.
Like his idea, which he has very fantastic ideas about these objects that are coming from outside of our solar system. And the latest one is this enormous object that's moving at 130,000 miles an hour and is headed our way.
Yeah, 3i Atlas. Yeah.
Hubble makes size estimate of interstellar comet.
Yeah, this is a photo. It just dropped yesterday. Yeah, came out, and this is from the Hubble Space Telescope. So
Is this that thing?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, God.
So, Avi was suggesting this could be an alien spacecraft of some kind. He's obviously done this before with Oumuamua,
Yes.
which you might remember. I think he came on here and talked
Yes.
about that. Yeah.
I know a lot of people are mad at him, though, so I wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like throwing shit at other scientists. That's just not that's not how I jam. I try to be respectful and appreciative of his contributions, of any scientist's contributions. And I think some of his work, I was actually referencing some of his work just the other day to get inspired for another paper. So he's had a huge impact in so many different areas. I do think he's off base on this one, but he doesn't need to be persecuted for that. I just think he's made the wrong call. With this in particular object, so there was three reasons I think why he thought this could be alien. One was the size of the thing appeared to be really big. So it was unclear originally whether it was an asteroid or a comet, and that makes a big difference. If it's a comet, then it's probably a really small thing surrounded by puffy dust around it. So what you see is actually not the true size. The true size is much smaller than what you see. It's just all the coma, as we call it, around it. If it's an asteroid, then that whole thing is a giant rock, right? So it's freaking huge in that case. It'd be like 10 to 20 kilometers bigger than Mount Everest. It'd be a huge piece of rock. But I think Avi's probably made the wrong bet on that one, because as we saw in the Hubble image, that there's a freaking coma around that thing. There's no doubt. And we've actually imaged it with the Hubble Space Telescope. James Webb looked at it yesterday.
So it is a comet then.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt it's a comet at this
Can you
point.
show me that image again, Jamie? So is it this? So this most recent image, does this sort of discredit his hypothesis?
Not complete. It discredits the idea, because his idea was if it's 10 to 20 kilometers in size, that just shouldn't happen. That's too big by chance for a rock to stray into the solar system that's that big, because there just shouldn't be that many big rocks lurking around in deep space. If it's a smaller comet, there's actually a size estimate now that puts it at a couple of kilometers, I think, as the upper limit.
It says the
5
nucleus
kilometers.
is 5.6 kilometers. All it could be as small as 320 meters across.
Yeah, so that makes it, as if it's a 300 meters across, I mean, it's just a completely normal comet.
And so
at
that
point.
image, that indicates a comet versus an asteroid?
Yeah, because you can see this diffuse coma all around it. So that all that stuff. There's actually, even today, there was a paper published that detected water coming off it. So we detected, which is what comets do. They produce OH emission as they fly through. So we know without any doubt it's a comet at this point. But there's still some weird things. It's moving really freaking fast. That was the other thing Avi pointed out. It's moving 58 kilometers per second, which is hugely quick through the solar system. I think that just means it's old. So generally what happens is, as rocks hang out in deep space, they encounter other stars. And every time they encounter a star, they get slingshotted, basically. So they kind of speed up a little bit every time they encounter something. So generally expect that the older something is, the more it's been pumped up in terms of its speed. So Oumuamua was moving really slowly. And Abby said it's moving suspiciously slowly, therefore it's aliens. And then for this one, it's moving really fast. And Abby's saying it's moving so fast, it's suspicious, therefore it's aliens. So I think that doesn't really jibe. I think that doesn't make any sense. It's probably just an old rock that's about 7 billion years old. And that's cool because it's older than the solar system, right?
Yeah.
So if we intercept that thing, we could sample material from not only another star system, but before even a whole solar system existed.
Well, it's going to be here in October, right?
It's already about maybe 2.5 AU from the sun. It's coming in. It will pass behind the sun in October and then come on its way back out. So James Webb is observing it right now, or just a couple of days ago was observing it. And then it will observe it again on the way out in November.
So it's going to be behind the sun.
Yeah. So that was the other thing Abby was pointing out, was the trajectory is a little bit suspicious because it kind of goes behind the sun. We can't observe it when it's at closest approach. That's called perihelion. We can't observe it then because it just happens to be behind the sun. And it comes very close to Mars as well. So it comes within about 0.2 astronomical units of Mars. So it's not like it'd be a threat to Mars. It's still really far out, but it comes suspiciously close, Abby claimed. And to me, I don't buy that as evidence for aliens because, why are they so interested? If they're aliens, they seem more interested in Mars than they do the Earth, right? Why would you choose your closest approach to be when you can't even observe the Earth at all because you're behind the sun, and the closest planet you come to is Mars? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to what the motive there would be. So, yeah, and I think the fact now it just clearly looks like a comet kind of pours a lot of cold water on it. But I do think it's not a crazy idea that this could be happening. It's a valid scientific hypothesis that there could be stuff going through our solar system which is not natural. And we're going to detect hundreds of these things with the Rogan telescope. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So I think there's an exciting future for this field to try and intercept these things. There's a mission the Europeans are building called the Comet Interceptor. It's going to launch in 2029. And that's just going to hang out in deep space, waiting for the next one to come. And they haven't necessarily committed to an interstellar object at this point, but they could do it, and they could turn on the engines and catch up with that thing, sample it, land on it. I mean, that would be dope. That'd be landing on an exoplanet, right?
Yeah.
That'd be like seeing stuff from another entire star system for the first time.
Lately is the skepticism about UFOs.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk to you about this, because you told me that you've discussed with UFOs recently.
Oh, yeah. And it's
Believer?
like... Yeah, totally.
Really?
UFO phenomena is real. I don't know what it is, but it has to be real.
Why is that?
Because there's way too much evidence that it is real.
What evidence?
Radar evidence that the F-16 locked on a UFO, that footage. And also just, I know that a friend of ours, I don't know if she wants to say it, but her father was an air traffic controller. And he told her, they said, yeah, every air traffic controller has seen something.
Yeah.
And I had another friend whose father was a commercial pilot. And she said, yeah, my dad said every single pilot has seen something. And they've all been told not to say anything about it.
We have a couple of friends say they were abducted.
Yeah.
Yeah, the abducted one is a little easier to wrap your head around, because when you're sleeping, your brain is producing all sorts of endogenous psychedelic chemicals.
Yeah.
Almost all of these experiences happen when you're sleeping. Almost all these experiences when these people are abducted, they're taken from their beds, which is when they're dreaming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's some real clear, easy steps to follow if you want to follow Occam's razor and not get crazy with it.
But it knocks those doesn't knock out like Barney and Betty Hill and all the people that are abducted will fully conscious and that remember it without hypnotherapy. About the abduction phenomenon. But
I don't Barney and Betty Hill. I know the story, but I don't know them.
Yeah.
So I would have to know them, because there's a lot of people that I've like I did a show for Sci-Fi called Joe Rogan Questions Everything.
Yeah, and I watched that show.
That cured me. That show cured me of a lot of my nonsense with conspiracies.
Well,
and,
we used to talk about
yes.
that stuff all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, but I needed to actually study it. So for 6 months, that's basically all I did. I interviewed people, and I like Bigfoot believers, UFO believers, all. And the one thing that they have in common is they all seem to be kind of lost and dependent upon this thing being real.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of being objective. There's only one lady that I interviewed that saw Bigfoot that really seemed to be telling the truth. But I think she saw a bear. I think bears walk on 2 feet all the time. They do it all the time. There's video footage. You can find it all the time. And she was in the Pacific Northwest, which is incredibly dense woods. You see something, you glimpse it. Look, I was hunting once in Canada, in Alberta, and I thought I saw a wolf for like 2 seconds. It was a squirrel. Okay? Understand this.
This
very
is big
like,
squirrel?
What is that? Wolf? No, it's squirrel.
Yeah.
No, I just saw fur.
Right.
I saw fur, and I was, because it's really
But you're
dense
convinced.
woods, because I was looking for fucking wolves. Because I was like, because I know we did see one wolf. It crossed the road. It was either a wolf or a coyote. It was hard to tell because it was at dusk. It was very dark out. But when you're looking for something, you think everything is that thing you're looking for.
Yeah.
So for a second, I thought that fucking squirrel was a wolf.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, expectation and perception are very linked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's also that they found that 50% of everything you see is a product of memory.
Yes.
That when you observe something, they've done fMRIs, and that most of the activity in the brain is in the memory centers, not in the visual centers.
Interesting.
About 50% of the activity is in the visual centers of the brain.
The UFO,
Crazy.
the UFO
Yeah.
thing. When I was a kid, went and saw Carl Sagan speak at U of T at the University of Toronto, and I was like, 14. But he did an equation, a board of the possibility of alien life other than us in the universe. And it came to the smallest. I mean, he spent the whole time writing on this chalkboard. It was fascinating. But he actually came up with a number at the end. And it was such a small. He says there is something out there, but we're so far away that that unless they can go faster than the speed of light, which he said was impossible at the time.
Yeah.
This is the 70s.
Yeah.
There's no way we've seen them. That's what he said. So if some other beings have conquered the speed of light thing, then maybe we could see them.
Yeah. The exact problem with this skepticism in general is like that it, like the skeptics of the 19th century were the ones who said germs don't exist.
Right, because we can't see them.
And people who said germs did exist were ridiculed and laughed out of the trade. Right, and
I agree with you. Really, just because you can't see it or it isn't happening doesn't mean it happen.
And even Sagan's day, there had been no exoplanets discovered then.
Right.
We now know that there are literally trillions and trillions of Earth-like planets.
Yeah, well, they speculated as to the existence of them outside of our solar system before. The real problem is that there's a leap, a technological leap that opens the doors to massive innovation.
Yeah.
That once this happens, and then all this stuff sort of exponentially expands in terms of technological possibilities. All you would need is a few hundred years, and you have an unrecognizable set of technology.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
well, you were talking CERN. I mean, the whole antimatter idea that they're still trying to figure out.
Yeah,
that's an insane source of energy that we have never even experienced.
Yeah,
you know, with a grain of sand can run a city. I mean, it's that big.
Yeah, and then there's also the theory. There's a recent one that space-time itself doesn't exist. So the speed of light barrier becomes moot because I guess it's the quantum holographic theory of the universe.
Yeah, is that Albert's book?
I can't remember.
Holographic universe. Is that who wrote that?
Yeah, I think so. But the idea that the universe is basically just a geometry that, when you look at it from a certain angle, seems three-dimensional.
Right, and it folds into itself, so you could. And it's travel through. That's the wormhole thing.
Well, it's not even that. It's the idea that space-time is, and that it doesn't really exist. That's why entanglement is possible, You know, the idea that, you know, spooky action at a distance.
Yes.
That
Quantum theory.
entanglement.
Yeah, but the reason that these atoms on opposite ends of the universe can affect each other instantaneously
At the same moment.
is because they're not really at opposite ends of the universe. They're really right next to each other. It just seems like they're at opposite ends of the universe.
Because our ability to perceive is basically based on what we have to do to stay alive on this planet. So our meager little chimp brains are trying to quantify all of these things that are around us all the time. So we put them into this sort of three-dimensional box of movement and distance and
that the entire universe could be a compact thing that projects itself like a hologram onto a screen.
I love these conversations because I'm clearly too stupid.
Yeah.
I don't understand anything I just said.
I don't understand you two, so how stupid does that make me?
Well, we understand each other. So
This is perfect.
We're all the same. Yeah.
But that's why, I think it'd be interesting to do a documentary or something about ecology, because one thing is the assumption that they're extraterrestrial is an assumption. But the thing that intrigues me is the power of ridicule to silence even the most intelligent people in our community from examining something. Like the ridicule kept doctors from accepting germs.
Sure.
Because they didn't to be ridiculed by their peers. And even now, you've got people that will, like Michael Shermer, will cling to the most absurd explanations for phenomena like the F-16 radar footage.
What was
Remember it, but it was pretty. It really went to great lengths that entailed having to basically diminish any respect you had for any of the people who reported on the events. It had to go into character assassination in order to eliminate it.
He's a skeptic, and I like Michael a lot, and he's been on the podcast many times. But I actually had him debate Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock about these ancient civilizations, and it wasn't very good for him. Like there's clunky moments. Well, the problem is they're believing.
They believe in.
The problem is being a skeptic itself. It's a stupid way to look at the world.
It's actually sure about something.
I mean, you be objective,
right?
Don't be skeptical,
right?
Being skeptical is like, I don't know, but
I know for sure that that's not true.
But it serves a massive purpose for people that really don't understand things, and he can explain it to you with actual science. As long as the actual science is being used, and it's not character assassination, it's not mockery, it's not. There's certain people that are just debunkers. They can call themselves skeptics, but they're not looking at things like, oh, maybe that is effective, maybe that is healthy, maybe that is interesting. No, they don't look at it that way. No. They're looking at it, they're trying to pick it apart. And that's fine if you can pick it apart. But if you cannot, you have to be objective about the fact that, oh, well, this is a very interesting phenomenon, and this is what we know about science, and this is what we know about this thing. And right now we have a weird conundrum.
Did Jerry, God's man, did he...
Eric Von Daniken.
Was he a believer?
100%. Yeah. He's all
Still
in.
Is.
Still in, all in. I asked him, the first thing I asked him, I said, what is
Can I pause?
Yeah.
I have to go pee.
No, go. The first thing I asked him was, what is the most compelling piece of evidence? And he pointed to this Mayan stone plaque that's in Palenque. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Is
it in the book?
Yeah, it's a god, one of their former kings that is lying on his back, and looks like he's moving some. Jamie, see if you can find that thing. It's this really cool carving that they found that looks like there's a guy who is in a seat, and it looks like there's fire behind his back, and you could say say that he's manipulating controls on a ship, and he's shooting a rocket into the heaven. I would like to see what the mainstream version of that is, because also it could just be art.
Imagination.
It could be that they knew about certain things being propelled by fire. There it is. Yeah, that's it. If you see this, that's a big-ass stretch to say that guy's in a spaceship. I don't know what the fuck that is. He's sitting down.
Looks like an altar, kind of, to me.
He could, but it does look like he's looking through an eyepiece, right?
That's true.
But what does that mean? Is it a telescope? Maybe he's just got a telescope.
Maybe it's just an astronomer.
Yeah, it is possible. I don't think they had telescopes.
No.
I don't think a telescope was even invented till...
No, did they even have glass at that point?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know if the Mayans did.
Wow.
But that was his number one piece of evidence, I was like, that's kind of silly.
I mean, when we were kids in the 70s, Bigfoot, and Chariot to the Gods and everything was so new.
Hey, look at this image. Look at the bottom of it, even from below him.
Which flame?
Yeah.
Where's
the flame? I guess the flame is the shit at the very, very bottom. But I mean, I'm not even sure I buy that. If you were going to draw fire, you'd do a really shitty job if that's your fire.
That doesn't really look like fire to me. That
No,
looks like
could be anything.
an ornate seat
Right.
or something.
Right. If that's fire, like, what is all the stuff around him? What's all that stuff? That looks kind of mechanical, though, right? It looks like there's bolts.
It does.
Did they have a fire god? Maybe they drew the fire god.
Is that it looks like a monkey
stretch
kind
it,
of
making a
face.
stretch.
With titties. Monkey's got some titties,
Oh, now I get it.
right?
Yeah.
And then the monkey's, is that his teeth?
It's the first
They
Hooters.
look like arms, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
It does. It could be arms. But that's the point. Is it's so open to interpretation. There's so much that you could see if you're looking to see. But what I do see is this guy who's
He's reclining in an odd
he's
way.
chilling,
for sure.
and it looks like he's looking through something.
What's that thing hanging across him? Do you see that thing across his arm?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is.
That's
But
bizarre.
here's the thing: I don't think anybody knows what the fuck that is. But so for him to say that this was the number one most compelling evidence,
I mean, were people getting high at this point?
oh yeah.
So, I mean, that could be just some
Oh,
guy got
yeah.
high and
LSD.
carved something.
Yeah, they were taking different kinds of plants that had lysergic acid in them. So, what is this obsessing? What is your more recent obsessing about UFOs? What's the origin of this?
Part of it is just the fact that the evidence, just the evidence itself, says you have to take this seriously, and yet no one does, or very, very few people do. I mean, even like again, that F-16 footage, that even Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is a great skeptic, said on one of the late night talk shows, he said, well, if you really want to look at the possibility of some non-human intelligence, that F-16 stuff is pretty compelling.
The
What did
F-16
you see?
stuff.
What is
That's
that?
the stuff that To the Stars Academy put out. It was the CIA.
Oh yeah,
foots.
Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
He's easy.
I've never
had
met him.
on the podcast.
Is he?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, very nice guy.
What do you
see in the
he's,
footage?
He's a very nice guy and a brilliant musician.
Yeah.
And he's a loon.
Yeah, I've never
he's
met
a
him.
fucking full-on believer. I mean,
Yeah.
he left Blink 182 to go do this To the Stars Academy shit. He's the biggest
Yeah.
goddamn rock band on the planet. Okay, here's something interesting about this, and this was pointed out by a video film by a fighter jet shows an unknown object near San Diego. Video from 2004 was released by the U.S. Department of Defense.
Wow, the way it moves.
There's something about the way it moves is really weird, huh?
Could it be
Yeah.
a jet, though? Jets
No.
can move that way.
One of the pilots told the media the object was not from this world.
Yeah, and here's the thing: it's like the skeptics, in order to dismiss it, they have to go. Well, they have to make argument that jet fighters are not better observers than anyone else.
Mick Ward's take on that. Mick Ward, the guy who he runs what is it? Metabunk. He runs a debunking site, and he's another one of those guys that is all in with the conventional explanation. Like
Yeah.
he goes way out of his way to not look at anything that could be at
Which is
least
the opposite
remotely
of Occam's
conspiratorial.
razor.
Yes.
Occam's razor says, that if you have to go to great lengths to dismiss something,
Right.
that's not following Occam's razor.
Right.
The razor says if the jet pilot says he saw this, he saw it.
I think he had an interesting take on it, though. And one of the things is there's a time during the video where the pilot shifted from 1x to 2x, which makes the image move more because you have magnification. Like, have you ever used magnifying
Yeah.
glasses or binos? Like, if you use 15x binos, it's very difficult to hold
Hold
on a
anything steady,
subject.
yeah.
But 6 you can kind
Easier.
of look at things in the distance.
Yeah, but that's if you don't have about $3 worth of stabilization equipment on your jet
Yeah.
locked onto this object.
Right.
Which is why that stays in lock.
He had an
all
explanation,
of
though,
it.
that was kind of interesting.
And when it breaks free of the lock,
How does it
that's
take off?
unbelievable.
Does it just take off or something like that?
it just at one point, just the object just breaks free of the lock, and that's almost impossible.
I have a
It's
question.
impossible for anything that man
Why
has
is
built
this
to do.
With the quality of cameras today, why is this footage so shitty?
But this is infrared
It's
footage.
infrared footage.
Yeah.
Infrared.
Yeah, I mean, you need this when you're shooting at things in the sky. You can't rely
It's a
on
blurry
visualizations.
blob.
You're looking at heat. You can't heat signals.
Because visually, it's so far. It would be essentially
escaping the
invisible.
rabbit hole. How to debunk conspiracy theories using fact, logic, and
That's
respect.
interesting.
So what is he saying? What is he saying? The program, make that a little larger for my stupid eyes. It said, for all, make sure you are talking about the right video. There's two that are confused. Here we're talking about the gimbal video, which is not from the Nimitz incident, which is discussed here. So scroll down a little bit. The gimbal video is okay, yeah, that's the one we're looking at. It's an unknown date and location from unknown pilots. No, the TikTok one is from
Those
San
are
Diego.
known pilots.
Yeah, 2004. Okay, that's David Ferver. The media's discussed these videos. Tom DeLonge's To the Stars. The link contains the frames. What's in? Keep going. The black shaper on the object, some kind of infrared flare glare. We know the shape of a very bright infrared source. Like the engine of a plane can be much bigger than the object itself, as explained here. Okay, so there's like a flare.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't explain the movement.
No,
so.
it doesn't explain the movement. It doesn't explain Occam's razor.
Yeah.
Is okay. So this guy debunking it.
This guy's saying it's a
Look at it.
jet.
It looks nothing like it.
And the movement's
Well, even
similar.
if it is a jet's not capable of breaking free from the lock, right?
Yeah.
If they lock onto it.
And if you look at that, you can see the jet. His example debunks his debunking.
right. Need not be moving.
Yeah.
The video need not be moving.
And
What
it's
is
also
that?
the assumption that this guy doing probably a few hours research has come up with something that is more credible than a trained fighter pilot who is there visually seeing it.
What do you think it is?
and tracking it.
If you had a guess.
I don't know. I
Let's get
think it is
from another planet.
it is an intelligent craft. It is a craft being piloted intelligently.
Why aren't they talking to us?
We're fucking apes.
Why would you? Yeah, it's
just
like
don't
They wouldn't
know-
talk to us.
if
We're
you're-
assholes.
When you look at it, when you look
Oh,
at
yeah. No, I forgot. You're right.
Fucking plastic straws everywhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, we cured it. No
That's
more
right.
plastic straws.
when you're a kid looking at an ant colony, you didn't go, "Listen to me, ants."
Yes.
You just looked at them. You know, there was
No, yeah,
You know,
I
and they say,
agree.
why don't they go to the White House? So, well, why would do you when you look at an ant colony? You go, I must speak to the queen.
Right.
You know.
Yes.
No.
I've always said
you
that,
just look at
yeah.
ants.
Yeah, that's what the most ridiculous thing about like the old movies. Like the old would land on the White House lawn.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like right?
Yeah.
Like what is
Day the Earth Stood Still.
That's it. Yeah. Baratu Niktu,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever that thing was. Baratu
Klaatu, Barata,
yeah.
Niktu.
Yeah, that's the Day the Earth Stood Still was like what
Yeah.
is that, 1940 or something?
50s.
50s,
54, something
55.
like that.
Fucking great movie.
Great movie.
I watched it really recently.
Because it's a
Remember
Christ.
when-
I love
remember
Christ
they-
parables.
Right,
Christ stories
yeah.
are great.
He was a Christ parable.
Yeah, well, his name was
right.
John Carpenter.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
was it?
JC.
That's right.
Christ was a carpenter.
What do they do? Don't they
right.
shoot that object out of his hand the first second he pulls it out? Do you remember he has that thing that's going to
Yes.
cure cancer?
Yeah, they shoot him. They
And they just they shoot it out of his hand immediately.
Yeah, and then at the end of the movie, he is killed and resurrected.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. They shoot him and he comes
he's
back
taken
to
by
life.
the robot. Takes him.
Yeah. The robot.
So-
Yeah.
Love
what a
that
goofy robot.
Very tall.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
And like he looked like you would want a robot to look in 1950.
Yes.
yeah.
All
Smooth.
metal and shit, smooth. Yeah.
Chrome.
Yeah, those were the days. We thought that they would communicate. Like, wasn't there a whole rash of them that were seen over Washington D.C.?
Yeah, there was dozens.
Yeah.
Dozens of UFOs tracked and admitted by the government that they were tracking them and watching them. But they essentially, and then at the end, their explanation was, nothing particularly important.
You know, we have a mutual friend who claims, I won't say her name, but she claims
No,
she
and
was...
I feel bad because I wrote her off as a lunatic when I first heard it.
Yeah, well, she was claimed to be abducted.
Yeah.
And then I was doing a show with her years ago, and she was telling us the story. Pretty funny, and she says, and then they took a scoop out of my back. And I'm like, a scoop? They took a scoop out of your back? And she showed on her back shoulder, there was a hexagonal diamond-shaped scoop out of her back. A divot. That
It was hexagonal?
Yeah, that was
Clearly?
clearly. And no scar tissue.
Maybe she's a crazy.
No
she's
scar
just-
tissue,
I
man.
know how to make this story stick.
Yeah.
A little punch.
But
A hole punch back there.
I worked at a bookstore at the time, years ago, and I went into the alien section. It was the world's biggest bookstore in Toronto. That was the name of it. And of course, I went to the alien section and just looked all this crap up. And there are other people
Yeah.
with the scoop.
Well, there's a lot of other people with
You
the
know.
abduction stories. Some of them have like little pieces of something in their body. I remember you talking to me about this many, many years ago. I was like, oh, Dave's interested. And so you were talking about people that have alien implants in their body.
Yeah. The thing is, to me, it's just, I guess the thing that's, I'm obsessed with now is just because we're comedians.
Yes.
And
Well.
the power of ridicule to silence debate is unbelievably potent.
Sure.
And we're part of that. We're part of the machinery that was used very, very consciously by the government to silence any inquiry. You know, it was like, feeding the story the right way to late night talk show hosts. Made it so that nobody would talk.
Government consciously fed those ideas to like Johnny Carson and those folks.
Yeah, of a pro, of that they, to make the UFO phenomenon ridiculous.
Do you think they did that to avoid mass hysteria? Like if you're the government and you know there's nothing out there, but you see these people freaking out, you go, okay, look, we've used all of our military might, all of our scientific power, and we don't see shit. I'm not buying this, but these people are freaking out. This has the real potential to get out of hand and go sideways on us. Let's just start making fun of this.
Yeah, I think it's more likely that there's something there that they feel powerless to control.
Do you think Kennedy went down into the basement of whatever and shown the alien sitting there?
This is what I say about aliens in regards to Trump. If there's anybody that would fucking tell us it's
him.
Trump.
He tweeted immediately.
He would tweet it. He would tweet it.
Looking at it.
UFOs are real, but CNN is fake.
Yeah.
I mean, it would still.
He is.
The failing New York Times fails to find UFOs because
I'm
they're
looking
real.
at one right now.
I'm at Area 50.
Does have the evidence. They are never going to show it to Trump.
Right, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point in being president if you can't find out
I
about
thought
UFOs?
Yeah.
If I knew that to become president meant you get all the access to UFOs, I might go, huh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's so very
I'll make a try for that.
No one gets it.
Like
I mean,
Jimmy Carter, said he had a UFO experience.
Yeah, he saw it, right?
Yeah.
He said he saw something. But see, that was back in the 70s where everybody was seeing shit. They were all talking about things. It was part of the zeitgeist.
It was.
People were legit, like after Close Encounters of the Third Kind, especially, people were legitimately thinking that aliens were going to come.
Yeah, he proposed such a possible scenario in that movie.
was so good.
It wasn't anything you expected it was going to be.
But like here, I was going to say here, like another example is like the Rendlesham, like the explanation of the F-16's locked, footage, like Rendlesham Forest, where they claimed that these American soldiers in the woods out in England took a lighthouse light for a spacecraft. That they were within 20 feet of a craft that they saw and took notes on, did
20
drawings.
feet?
They were not even like right up against it. And they, wrote down notes, saw like different sort of hieroglyphs on the ship itself, described the feel of it, this electrostatic feel of being around it. And the official explanation was they mistook a lighthouse several miles away for this spacecraft. So Occam's razor again says that's hard to believe that these trained observers, and that's the other thing, they always try to dismiss the idea that trained observers are better observers. But they are better observers.
Sure.
In the age of today, everyone has a high definition camera in their pocket.
But have you taken a graph of the moon on
It's
your
hard. Yeah, it's
on your
true.
phone?
It comes out
It doesn't look
crappy.
like the moon.
That's true.
Yeah,
Right.
no
That's true.
details.
Comes out as a
because the lenses are too wide. But Occam's razor says, all right, they saw something. They, because what is the likelihood that trained observers who have been on this base for years on this night would mistake a lighthouse that they've seen every night for the entire time they've been on this base for a UFO? I mean, what is the likelihood that explanation is correct?
I'm not a
Rendlesham Forest, yeah.
Say it.
Bentwoods,
How do you spell
Rendlesham,
it?
Rendlesham, Rendlesham.
Rendlesham Forest.
Yeah, it was Bentwoods. It was 2 nights.
Sounds like a character actor on Columbo.
where there was and it's a nuclear installation.
And Rendlesham Forest.
The nuclear installations are always ripe with UFO stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. What year was this?
This was in the 80s.
1980.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's, and it said, obviously the obvious explanation is, well, not the explanation, but the only thing you can accept is that these observers saw something and described it accurately.
Is it something that had crashed?
If you want to say that, no, it came down, was landed in the forest, and then took off.
What do you think of the Roswell case?
The night before that, Roswell, I think it's probably true.
Real? You're all in.
Yeah.
Wow, Dave, I never knew. It's interesting.
Again, because the cover stories for it are so much less believable than an alien.
Yeah, I used to have a joke about
Yeah.
that they put on the paper that they have recovered a crashed UFO and alien bodies. And the next day they said, oh, we made a mistake. It was just a balloon. Well, what about the bodies?
Yeah.
What about the aliens?
Balloon.
Yeah.
Those are Mexicans.
Yeah.
They were Mexicans. They were drinking. Apparently, they thought the balloon was a pinata. They got a little
Yeah.
crazy.
See, I'm believing you right now.
But we just invented some new stuff
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
And then 30 years later, they go, "Oh, they were altitude dummies that we
Yes.
were dropping.
That's right.
To test how they would fall."
And now we have there's an invisibility cloaks.
Well, they showed up again the next day with a bunch of weather balloon scraps. And
Yeah.
they're like, look, this is it.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy holding it up
Yeah.
like a
But
little.
what they don't tell you is that they flew the wreckage out to Wright-Patterson Air Force in 2 separate planes and that Truman met them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, again,
Yeah.
more rational.
2 separate planes.
The
Yeah,
more-
because they were worried
Yeah.
that one would crash.
The weather balloon thing is not as
I love
rational
it. I love
as
it.
something weird happened.
Listen, I want to be
Me
an
too.
alien so
Yeah.
bad
Oh,
that
me
I
too.
question myself. So that's my problem.
I wanted
with
to
all
be,
that
but
stuff.
But I won't like. I'll be skeptical about stuff that just seems crazy, or people that believe sort of ascribe some sort of metaphysical explanation for all this. My thing is just, well, if the preponderance of the evidence says something happened,
Right.
but doesn't tell you what happened,
Right.
then you still have to believe something happened. Not knowing what happened isn't evidence that it didn't happen.
And yet you're still flat earther.
Well,
And I showed it, and I had it in the background in one of our stories, just sort of an inside joke. It's sitting in there. But Bob used to keep it in front of a particle accelerator that he had built at his home. Every non-scientist builds a particle accelerator in their home, and he had it there when he thought he was going to be killed. It was sort of a defense mechanism for him. He had it right in front. All he had to do is flip a switch, and he thought it could explode. I think he meant to scare people from coming in and trying to take him out. But this cloud chamber test was the only time I think he ever took it out of this thing. And I got there right as the experiment ended, where they had this little chamber and it bent light. Now they showed me the video. I don't pretend to be a scientist. I don't try to be an expert on things I really don't know. But it looked to me like light was bending in this experiment, which it shouldn't be able to do. It's like a laser that bent.
I've seen some of this.
Jeremy
so
has a
I was
little piece
able
of
to
it.
find, man, this was a search. So George, from day one, when
Do you have it right now? That
on
video?
on me, it's in my movie.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So but basically, what happened is, it's so annoying. I'm like, you guys have footage of this because Bob never filmed this to put out to the public. It was to show his friends, like taking them to the test site, show them the saucers. It was so his friends didn't think he was fucking crazy. So they film it, and lo and behold, they give it to George. It's in a brown case. It's somewhere in his archives. I've sorted through his whole damn house, man. I can't find this tape. So then I asked Bob, is there anywhere this could be anywhere else? This is important footage, Bob. And I find it sandwiched between 2 Golden Girls episodes on some tape he kind of recorded over. So I got out to the public, 17 or 30 seconds of this cool down phase of the test.
Is that online anywhere?
It's in my film. I can put it online.
Right, but is it online? Has
no,
anybody taken
no.
that?
I got it.
No?
I found it in these old tapes. They couldn't
Right, but
find
you know
it.
how people take little things from movies and sometimes put
Oh,
them online.
maybe somebody has,
Could
but
be.
I'll post it, man. It's
Okay.
cool. It's cool. It doesn't. But Bob says he's so unimpressed with everything. He's like, Jeremy, that doesn't show the cool part of the test. It's just the cool down period. And I'm like, well, it shows that you filmed this with your friends back then, and that at least you believed you had 115. So what I have in the film, it's not definitive proof, but it shows that they weren't lying, that they filmed it. George was there.
Bob would just assume that goes away, that people not
Is
talk
this
about
it?
it.
Is this it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
Jamie's the best.
Jamie. Wow.
So what's happening here? Explain. This looks like he's growing a plant or some shit. What is
Right.
this?
So this is why Bob was so unimpressed with what I found sandwiched in his personal home videos. Is
That's
that,
the disc. That's the top of the disc with
Okay.
a cross on top.
Yeah. So he was trying to show his friends, like today, if you had a laser pointer.
So here's the
the
cloud.
cloud.
You could look at it over there, Jeremy, if you don't want to turn around.
Oh, got it.
So
So if Bob had a laser pointer back then, with the principles of the 115, which he did get out, and he does
where's
not
the 115 in this image?
inside of
that disc.
the clamshell, inside of the puck.
So that's that surface. We're looking at the surface
Yeah,
of this
that's
clamshell.
the top of this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he'd have it in there. Now the whole sensitivity for him is there's real world implications. If he's telling the truth to us about it,
I don't understand what I just saw though. I didn't see anything.
You
Go
didn't
back
see
to
it
that.
bend. You don't see it.
Replay that again,
It's
Jan?
the only piece of the tape that still exists, but it's not the
Yeah.
key part of the.
all it shows, Joe, is that they filmed a home experiment back then. He demonstrated for his friends how light was bent by the material itself.
I understand that, but I'm not seeing that
You're
here.
not. You're not seeing
So
it.
this
This
is
is the
not-
only piece of the tape that still exists, but it's not this central piece.
Was this in the film?
Yeah, it was briefly. I didn't highlight it because it was like I
But
didn't.
I'm not seeing anything in this. This is what's confusing to me. This seems like nothing. Like nothing's going on at all.
Right. That's the point. Is that he has a long version. George, blame him.
Yeah,
man.
it's my fault.
No, but I understand. But why is this in the film then if nothing's happening?
It was a splash over when he was talking about 115. He doesn't like talking about how he got it out, but it was like a Easter egg.
Jeremy wanted to demonstrate that the recording did exist at one point, but that's the only piece that's left of it. I'm the guy who got the tape.
So you got a full tape,
I
and
got
you
the
just
full
don't know
tape.
where it is.
I have no idea.
Is it in your house somewhere?
I doubt it. I mean,
Where-
I've looked. He's looked. I've looked.
Where could it be?
Dude, you should see his house. Joe, I looked for years, man. I went through, made him take and digitize all these tapes. I took hundreds of tapes and digitized them, looking for this little 2 minutes.
That seems like a big deal, though.
Yeah, it's
Why-
a really
how
big
could
deal.
You lose that?
I mean, I've got thousands of tapes
I
from
understand.
that era, and I have saved them all, and I've moved them around, and then I'd use them in different productions. I can't find it. I know that is very unsatisfactory for people, and I've been accused of making it up or
It's
lying
actually
or
very
hiding it.
appropriate considering the history of this stuff.
Yes.
It's kind of funny.
Frustrating as fuck, man.
Of course, but kind of funny.
The aftermath of Bob coming forward, of course, it messed with his life in a big way, and he was not all that much of he was sort of a semi-recluse anyway. But the stuff that goes on here, even 31 years later, you know what it's like. These fanboys. He's got people that got the Bob Lazar disease really bad, and they still deal with him. They spend their days now, all these years later, focusing on Bob. But 2 weeks ago, somebody put something on Twitter. It was an interview. These guys had gone to New Mexico to find people that had worked with Lazar a long time ago, and then tried to dig up dirt. Hey, do you remember working with Bob, or you knew him back then? Yeah. Did he have teenagers working for him at his photo shop? Yeah. You ever seen anything weird with him and little girls? No, the guy says. And then the interviewer says, well, we heard that he tried to solicit a 14-year-old girl to work at a brothel. And then they put this, the guy says, I don't know anything about that. They put this on Twitter with the headline, Bob Lazar solicited 14-year-old girl to go into prostitution.
So who's doing this? Just some
Guys
online trolls?
People who've got it bad. And there's so many of them that every day they post something about Bob Lazar. It's
Really?
every day.
Oh my God, dude.
Well, I think UFOs attract a certain percentage of schizophrenics.
Totally. But
Yeah.
this is like so horrible the way that his story. I mean, I've never seen it like this. I get it. Because I did a film on Bob, I get death threats because of Bob. That's his life every day.
You know, I had a military guy who I had asked years ago about disinformation. You know, do you guys have to seed disinformation out there to discredit the UFO story? He said, we don't have to plant anything. The UFO people do it all to themselves. I mean, they're nuts.
Yeah.
I got a PhD in ufology, in essence, by working on that story and then subsequent stories, because the public had reacted in such a way. All right, I'm going to stick with it. But what you run into in the topic, it's no wonder that you've gone back and forth on it. So have I.
Yeah.
Questioning whether, is this a good use of my time? Because there's so many of them that are absolutely nuts and psychopaths, and they make stuff up and
They also make a living doing it. Like
Some of
Jamie
them.
and I were watching Ancient Aliens the other day, and we were laughing. We're like, what are the qualifications of being a UFO researcher? Like, you don't have to have a degree. You have to be a bullshit artist who's willing to get on the History Channel and talk about UFOs. Like, literally, you just have to know a few facts that you could spit out. And some guys were clearly reading off of a script. I'm like, this has got to be the lowest bar for, like, in terms of, like, what does your son do? Oh, he's a scientific expert on the History Channel. Amazing. You know, but what is he really? He's a fucking UFO researcher. Well, what does that mean? It just means he's a guy who's into UFOs who can string words together in an appropriate sentence that seems like he knows what he's talking about, and so they put him on TV. And when I did that sci-fi show, Joe Rogan Questions Everything, I lost all my faith in UFO research.
Yeah.
And I brought it back because of your documentary is what brought it, and Dave Foley, because talking to Dave.
Fucking love Dave.
I love Dave.
Yeah.
But he was so into it, man. I'm like, really? He's like, you got to look into this. You got to look into that. You know, he's telling all these things. I'm like, all right, one more time. Here we go. And then when I watched your documentary, I was like, holy shit.
I'm
then
so
it really
glad.
rekindled my thoughts about Bob Lazar because I remember being really interested in it in the 90s.
The topic itself discourages serious inquiry by journalists, by scientists, because you have to wade through so much crap. You know, 95% of it is total crap, or it is honest misidentifications of prosaic objects. But that 5%, it's really interesting, and it's why the government is now, looking into it once again.
Yeah, it is really weird to see the government looking into it openly. That's what's strange. Like the fact that they're like the younger version of me would be like bracing myself for contact. I'd be like, it's coming. If they're talking to us about it now, because my thought was always like, they probably, if UFOs are real and aliens exist, they have been in contact, they probably don't think we can handle it. So they probably want to keep us as calm as possible and just dismiss everything and go back to work, go back to sleep, do what you got to do. Don't pay attention to this. This is all nonsense, and that's what most people do. But when the government is actually openly discussing the fact that they not only have been studying this, but they have some video footage of some things they cannot explain, and they're saying this just out in public in legitimate, recognized publications, newspapers, television shows. It's weird to see.
Very weird for me. Now it's 33 years that I've been chasing this, and I don't want to talk about me, but I mean I become the UFO reporter, whether I like it or not. I'm not the UFO reporter. I'm a reporter who is interested in that. The UFO stories I've done in all that time, it's been a lot, but as a percentage of all the reports that I do, it's small. Right. I'm a news guy. I chase bad guys mostly for the I-Team, but those UFO stories have gone all over the world. The UFO field is so polluted with liars and exaggerators and fast buck artists and people who appropriate the story for their own political agendas, to make money, to get attention. It takes 90% of your energy just to wade through the crap and get to the hard facts, and there aren't that many of them, and to figure out who's telling the truth, who's reliable, who's honestly trying to pursue the story and get to the truth. It's a task that is difficult, and I don't blame other journalists for not giving it a fair shake, because it's not something you could do in a week. I remember saying to myself, this is how cocky I was in the beginning, is, I'm reading these UFO books, and boy, this field is a mess. But there is some good information in here. Give me 6 months and I'll have this figured out. Well, there's 33 years later. I know less than I did now. I know I have a lot more facts in my head, but all the big questions, we don't have answers to them. I don't think anybody does. Who they are, where they're from, why they're here, what their interest is in us, what the long-term agenda is. We don't know that. And I don't think anybody does. I've gone pretty far high up the food chain.
As a career journalist, what did it feel like to you when you started seeing the government actually coming out and saying, we are trying to investigate these reports, we know that there is something to them, these are real claims by real pilots, real scientists have reviewed these things and they find them troubling?
It's a mix. The most immediate reaction is astonishment, because of all the years I'm chasing this. Everywhere you go, you run into brick walls when dealing with the government. That's really what got my attention and where I wanted to focus, because I can't go out and wait for UFOs to show up, although I've done that.
You're working there. You're under this crazy schedule. Forgive me for explaining your story, but you would get these phone calls. You would have to go to the airport at 11 p.m., and your wife started thinking that you were having an affair.
Yeah, apparently so. Now, I did give my permission to have, as part of the, security clearance process, I gave written permission to have the phones monitored and things of that sort. So they weren't doing any covert stuff. They, with any Q clearance, which is civilian top secret clearance or military top secret clearance, they go talk to friends and, places you've been, make sure you're not connected to foreign countries. But, monitoring your phone is nothing unusual. However, they insisted that, you don't even talk to your loved one, to your partner, to your wife, whatever, about what's going on. So she was essentially in the dark. and didn't know the phone was being monitored. Well, part of the security clearance is that not only do you not have any connections to foreign countries and aren't a maniac, but you have to have a stable home life too. Well, she started having an affair with a flight instructor. Now, they were monitoring this on the phone, and they knew it, and I didn't. So they stopped me coming in, and their attitude at the time was, we need to see how this is going to play out, and if Lazar is going to get a little weird or anything. So let's just, hold him off from coming in and, see what happens.
And they explained this to you, what was happening?
Well, after the fact, yeah, because time kind of went on, and there were guys that were following me around, and I started getting a little concerned, going, well, shit, are they booting me out of the project? And if so, they're not just going to let me hang out at home and go get a new job knowing what I know. So as time went on, I started getting a little concerned, and I took my closest friends and just kind of got together, and I said, hey, remember that job I told you about? This is what's going on. And you don't need to take my word for it. Wednesday night, we need to all go out here. I want to show you what's going on. So I took everybody, and we went out to, remember, since I had the test flight schedule, and went outside the base, out into the desert, and so everybody could see, one of the high-performance tests. And, it left quite an imprint on everybody, so they knew I wasn't.
And there's videos
crazy.
of these tests, right?
Yeah, but remember, this is it's in the dark in the 80s with a big monster-sized camcorder, and you got, a bright light jumping around. But, we did video of it, but there's no, by today's standards, it's.
But is your video specifically available, the video that you took?
Yeah, well, George Knapp has it.
Is it online?
I give it down.
Do you know?
I have no idea.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I show clips of it in my film. It's online, and someone did a deep analysis of it. It was interesting to take a look at how.
Pull this microphone up to your face. Keep it about a fist from your face.
All right. To see how his video looks now, but as far as video evidence, we are talking 80s camcorders. The most important thing is the human story here. Everybody that he took up there on 3 separate occasions, they don't all like each other. They don't all talk. They all agree on one thing. They saw something that night at the exact point in time and space that Bob Lazar said. And remember, this is 17 miles south of Area 51. No one even knew really about Area 51. We're talking Papoose Lake, and they all agree. They saw something that night they had never seen before, and they've never seen since, right when he said it. So that's one of the 6 things where I'm like, how did he know? You can dismiss him. I tried to dismiss it. But some things we can't get around, and there's about 5 or 6 of them. How did he know about those?
If Jamie wants to find that video right now, what would he look under?
Bob Lazar, UFO, S4, Area 51, just kind of like that. So it's like the S4 UFO video, Bob Lazar, and a guy does an analysis, but you're analyzing these 80s videos.
Right.
He from the very beginning, Bob never said, I have proof of my story and I'm going to tell the world. He said at the very beginning, I cannot prove my story. That's not why I'm telling this. George Knapp convinced him to tell people, and he lived through it, and I didn't believe it either until I talked with George.
Okay, so you filmed this test flight, one test flight, and then you get caught.
Actually, it was, I think, the 3rd time, because we went out there the first time. Everybody saw it. Everybody was amazed because it did some radical maneuvers, and everybody had a lot to say about it.
Maneuvers that I've seen the video. It doesn't. I don't think there's something we have now that does that.
No,
in terms of like a human piloted craft. I mean, I don't know, obviously, with the government.
No, it's impossible. Nothing can move like that. And remember, we didn't start filming from the very beginning. We were waiting for something, to happen. The craft took off and then came flying at us, stopped, turned at a right angle, flew back, and then, after it did some, amazing stuff, to get the camera, and then we started filming. So it doesn't have all of it on there; it just has some.
The way I describe it to my friends, and they said, "What does this look like?" I said, "Take a laser pointer, and then have a wall, and then move it around the wall." Like, how it moves around the wall, it doesn't seem like it has anything to do with inertia or physics, or it's not impeded in any way by the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
You're essentially separated from reality. As crazy as that sounds, with being encased its own gravitational envelope, inertia is not going to affect it. And this is how some of those recent sightings with Commander David Fravor, I'm sure you've heard of the Tic Tac UFO. I mean, he describes exactly the thing operates exactly the way I was describing. That's why he was interested to talk to me. But we saw this, and on the way home, it's like, hey, we got away with it. We should try it again the next test flight day. So this became a thing to do. And I think it was on the third time that we got caught. I mean, we started becoming a little careless. I think we took a motorhome out there. And, I mean, it was like the stupidest thing you could possibly imagine.
Started tailgating.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And
again, you're in your 20s.
Yeah. And, what was funny was we went out there, and my friend Gene Huff and I were leaning on the front of a vehicle. And just for some reason, we just started talking shit. Like, well, I hope they realize that I don't remember what we were saying, but, that it's something about attacking the base or something along those lines and stealing the craft or something like that.
Something crazy.
And then about 20 feet in front of us, we see a little green light fall on the ground and roll to us. And unbeknownst to us, now it's pitch black, you can't see your hand in front of your face. There were a bunch of guards standing right out there, and they had a night vision scope where they were like from here to the wall looking at us, listening to us, and the guy dropped it, and the scope rolled over to us, and you could see the green screen. We turned the lights on, and all these guys are there. So it was...
Whoa.
Yeah. So we did incredibly stupid stuff and got caught, as we should have.
So when they catch you and they bring you in, then what happens?
Well, I went in for debriefing. The following day, I went to Indian Springs Air Force Base, which is kind of a defunct base that they used to use at the nuclear test site. And this is when they brought out the transcript of the phone call with my wife. And, they sat me down and we said, when we meant to keep the secret, we meant you can't tell your friends, right? And it just being sarcastic and trying to. Mm-hmm. And then they got real serious. But this is where they, took the transcript out and were reading me what my wife and, our friend were talking about. And I don't know, it was a hard time.
So what happens from there? What do they do with you? Why don't they arrest you?
I don't know. I don't know why. I'm not sure exactly they knew what to do, but they did let me go that night, and I went home. And this is kind of when the most stressful part started.
Because you're realizing that you're being monitored 24/7.
Now I know not only am I being monitored, but now I know I'm in trouble. And it wasn't a short time after that I contacted, at that time, the only investigative reporter I had heard of in Las Vegas was George Knapp, and, told him some of the story because I had no idea what the hell was going to happen at that point.
So George Knapp tries to dissect your story, tries to find holes in it, tells it, puts it online, and makes everybody aware of it, and that's how I found out about it.
Yeah, to make a long story short. Yeah.
What happens, to really make a long story short, what happens from there on? I mean, do they contact you and say, hey, Bob, it's probably a good idea if you shut up?